Good morning. I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Hess? Present. Ms. Polk?
Present.
Ms. Weber? Present. Ms. Parker? Mr. Seroy? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Present. Mr. Dennell? Present. Mr. Miller? Mr. Long? Present. Mr. Hunter? Present. Ms. Foster? Present. Ms. Armour Earps? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? Present. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Thank you for attending. Next up is public comment. I have no slips of public comment up here. Are there any in the back? Seeing no public comment. Approval of minutes from January 24th, 2024. Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Donnell. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to allow the bid opening for the circuit clerk remodel? Mr. Hunter, motion, second by Mr. Featherling. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Wes?
All right, thank you.
Really quickly, Wes,
Yep.
Can I get a motion to allow Ms. Parker to enter via Zoom? Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Donnell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Welcome, Tinker. Thank you, Kelly.
All right, we good?
Yep.
All right, so this is take two on the bid opening. As you may or may not be aware, we didn't have a quorum at my building grounds meeting this month, so you have it here on your agenda. So with us here today, we've got Doug Bright with Bright Architecture, who is our architect on the project, and then we have Justin Goslin with PSI, who is our construction manager on the project. So with that being said, Doug, I think you're gonna take over.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the bid opening for the circuit clerk remodeling at the courthouse. This is a construction management job with PSI as the construction manager. We have 3 bid packages for the project. We have general trades, we have flooring, and we have electrical. The first package that we're going to open
We
is
need
general.
to get a motion.
Yep. Motion to allow the opening of the bids. Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Ms. Weber. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. All right, our first bid opening is for general trades. This bid is from PSI Construction. For bid package number 1, general trade package, PSI submits a base bid of $399,263. No alternate bid applies to this package. No unit price applies to this package. Signed by PSI Construction. Contractor bid rigging certification submitted. Certification of compliance with the Illinois Drug-Free Workplace Act submitted. And sexual harassment policy submitted. It's also a 5% bid bond for bid security. That is our only package, or our only bid for general trades. Our next package is bid package 2, which is flooring. First bid is from Carpet Weavers. Carpet Weavers does submit a 5% bid bond for bid security. They acknowledge receipt of all 3 addenda. For bid package number 2, flooring, the base bid is $25,229. $25,229. Unit price number 1 of $8.47 per square foot. I believe that was for moisture mitigation, right? Yeah. $8.47 per square foot. Bid rigging certification, Illinois Drug-Free Workplace Act, written sexual harassment policy, that has all been submitted. Next bid for bid package 2, flooring, is from Specialty Commercial Flooring. They submit a bid bond for bid security in the form of 5%. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $25,788. 25788, and a unit price number 1 of $6.50 per square foot. Bid rigging certification, Drug-Free Workplace Act, and Sexual Harassment Policy has been submitted. That concludes the bids for bid package number 2. Bid package number 3, our first bid is from Outson Electric. Outson submits bid security in the form of a 10% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendas 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $113,565. We have an alternate bid 1, which was replacing a distribution panel in the basement for $13,420. And unit price does not apply to this package. We have the bid rigging certification, Illinois Drug-Free Workplace Act, and Sexual Harassment Policy submitted. Next bid for the electrical package. It's from Reuter Electric. Reuter submits bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. Acknowledge receipt of addendas 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $163,687. Alternate bid 1 price of $19,194. Unit price is not applicable. Contractor bid rigging certification, Drug-Free Workplace Act, and Sexual Harassment Policy has been submitted. That concludes the bids for the circuit clerk remodeling. We will evaluate the bids and get a recommendation to the county for approval.
All right. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve the bids pending a review from our contractors and attorneys? Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Long. Any discussion or comments? Ms. Weber.
Thank you. I just wondered if Outson had the 5% bond. I don't know if you announced
They
that.
had 10.
They had 10%.
10%. Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? If not, roll call.
Ms. Drecka?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next up, we have no presentations. Next is Finance Department, Mr. McCarty. Thank you. You're welcome. In your package, you have all the financial reports. So if you want to start looking them over. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Oh, I got the good chair.
Nick was sitting there.
All right, in your packet today, for the miscellaneous reports, for all the taxes and miscellaneous, I've added a few new ones now that we have some history. We've added cannabis sales tax and cannabis use tax categories for your review. So we'll continue to watch the trend here, but I thought we might have enough just to start a similar report. But overall, sales tax for the fiscal year grew 8%. And previous year's growth was 7%, so the trend is pretty consistent. The others are running pretty consistent overall. But So I just wanted to point those things out. I won't spend a lot of time unless there's any questions on anything specific on these today.
Any questions for Steve? No questions. Next, cash flow update.
All good news there. Unless there's any specific questions, no worries. Everything's going good there. Just wanted to make sure, keep everyone updated, you know, as the flow continues. But just entertain any questions if there are any.
Any questions? Seeing none. Claims for recommended and not recommended for approval.
You want me to read these in?
Mr. Dunnell?
I move we combine and approve.
Motion to combine and approve by Mr. Dunnell, second by Mr. Long. If you'd like to read them into the record.
All right. Yeah, the first one, MJS Advantage, is for grant activity. The second one, Pseudo Janos. This is CD entry. I'll just give some explanation on this one. It instead of being able to use a credit card or write a check, this was international activity. As Kevin Duvall came to me, and we had something that had to be done as soon as we could. Some emergency situation. I worked with the treasurer's office staff. They got communicated with the bank and helped us figure out how to get this accomplished. So we appreciate their help on this. So it's similar to a credit card. We average $40,000 to $50,000 worth of credit card activity a month. So the auditors see claims that are after the fact, and you know, this one was an emergency, and you know, did the claim for full disclosure and brought it here for full disclosure. So it's similar to a credit card transaction, but we just couldn't use a credit card in that case. The other one, Kankakee County, let's see, this Visa, State's Attorney, yep, State's Attorney Visa. RMP Enterprises, this was corner activity. And then Marcia Easter Reimbursement Office Supplies. She is employee with the auditor's office.
Any discussion? Any department head have any comments? Chairman Wheeler?
I just wanted to mention that the auditor submitted a claim of his own in there for $32 for paper. For this committee's knowledge, this speaks to the heart of some of the situations that we have to deal with. The auditor, anybody elected official, has complete authority to run their office within the budgetary confines that we set them.
Mm-hmm.
To submit that claim to this board cost us at least 100 times in cost to process this through this avenue than it was just to pay the bill that he has the statutory authority to pay. We pay all these bills in the claims. And I hope I'm explaining this properly. Mm-hmm. This is a complete and utter waste of our time. And I don't know why, if it's the Don Quixote syndrome or what's going on here, but it's bizarre. It's like when he says the coroner, I don't think that's his signature on the claim. Bob's worked here, I don't know, 1853? I'm just kidding. But you know, I'm just saying, we all know Bob's signature, and to question whether he actually signed a claim for drywall repairs in his office is frankly ludicrous from somebody who doesn't even come to work. And I'll just leave it at that. There's so much more that we could say, but this expense shows how much money these complete waste of time goose chases that have produced nothing unethical, illegal, questionable whatsoever in the 7 years I've been here. And if you notice, it was the employee used their personal card and they with sales tax on it. Wow. Personal card for a county expense when they have a county card. That doesn't make any sense to me either. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Gessmer?
I got up here. I don't know if I'm gonna get back. I am the real Bob Gessner. I've been signing claims for 22 years, and to get a comment like that, so I tried to call him on the phone at 9:20 in the morning. I got no answer. I finally got an email back at 6:20 at night telling me my signature was okay. So I just don't understand, as Andy just said, is wasting our time for that. It's my signature. He could have called me on the phone very easily and told me, hey, can you verify this signature for me, because I don't, and he never did. And I commented back to him on that, about he should have been calling me instead of putting it out to the county board. It's ridiculous. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Featherly.
Mr. Gessner, how much time did you have to take out of your day to come here this morning? How much time did you have to take out of your day to come here this morning? Just wondering. An hour, at least?
Yeah.
Okay. How much does that cost the county? How much does somebody else have to cover for him while he's gone? So they're not doing their job either. So it could have been taken care of, but the problem, I think, is this stuff's being done at night. You can't call somebody at night and ask them a question. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other comments or discussion on this? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Aye. Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Aye. Ms. Foster? Aye. Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next up is the monthly claims. Nothing really to highlight on that.
Yeah, I don't have any specifics, but I do have a copy if anybody has any questions, specific questions.
Motion to approve the monthly claims. Motion by Mr. Donnell, second by Ms. Foster. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Aye. Mr. Dennell? Aye. Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Aye. Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. And next up is the draft of fiscal year 2023 year-end update and discussion.
Yeah, so update on the actual draft numbers. A few months ago, we looked at estimates, and we came in better than the estimated amounts. So I just wanted to let you know what we're turning over to the outside auditors for their review. So it's still draft at this point, and we'll be back at the May meeting with the final document and final update. So for general fund, the total revenue was $44.3 million. The expense was $40.3 million. So it was a surplus of 3.99. So it took the fund balance from 8.5 million to 12.5 million for the general fund. And just remind everyone that within those draft numbers that we paid off Series 2009 in fiscal year 23, $1.5 billion. So that's included in that information. And just a reminder that we're scheduled to pay off Series 2011, 2012, and 2012A this year, close to $1.4 million of debt paid off. So that'll be 4 bond payments paid off in 2 years. As far as overall fund balance, in the graph, from a graph picture, this is general fund. You know, I bring the history up as only a reminder of the lesson learned, that we never forget the lesson, and realize that from the beginning in 2008 to the lowest part in 2016, that's a $10 million shift. So being at 12.5 million positive is good, but obviously, you know, perspective-wise, if history were to repeat itself, is 2.5 million left in the bank good, when each payroll is just over $1 million every 2 weeks. So just a little perspective. So it's all great news. There's a number of different ways to look at fund balances. You know, that if you look at it from a percentage basis, it's nearly 30% of our operation. If you take that and divide out, you know, our operation divide by 12, you know, it's $3.5 million a month, roughly, that, you know, it takes to transact. So that leaves us about 3.5 months of operating expense at the 12 million, you know, hypothetically. So, you know, if you looked at your own emergency fund, if you will, you know, it's recommended 3 to 6 months and higher, you know, depending on, you know, your situation and who you talk to and how long you've been doing it. So it's way better than what it was, obviously. But, you know, we could argue that we're not really at the proper emergency fund level yet. There is information out there, and I promise we will have that discussion here. But there's been a lot going on. We're short-staffed again. We got a lot of things to catch up on. So just wanted to make sure, you know, we're bringing everything, make sure we're disclosing where we're at. And then the final information, Kelly, I just wanted to show you the 3 major funds, where the draft is for general fund, tort fund, and pension fund. So we discussed the general fund. The tort fund is at 2.3 million fund balance, and pension fund is at 5.7 million. So combined at 20.5 million overall for the 3 major funds. So it's all great news. Again, congratulations for everyone involved. There's been a lot of teamwork, a lot of effort. Overall, you know, Chairman Wheeler and the board, this finance committee, Finance Chair Eckhoff, all the electeds, especially the Sheriff's Department and his staff, all the appointeds, you know, all of our staff, the unions, non-unions, you know, everybody has participated. And for those that were here during that dip in that graph time, everybody, I doubt we'll ever forget that time. I will never forget it, and I hope the lessons learned will never be forgotten. So I just wanted to make sure, you know, wanted to update you on where we're at. I know we only cover this a couple times a year, so just wanted to take this time to do that. So any questions?
Well said, Steve. And yeah, kudos to Chairman Wheeler, administration, and like Steve said, everybody that's worked hard on this. If you look at the last slide there in 2016, $4 million between the 3 major funds, and to have $20 million, a $25 million swing doesn't happen overnight. And it's a kudos to everybody that's been here, dug through the trenches in 2016 and to today. So congratulations to everybody. Any other comments on this? Okay. Next up is Kankakee County IS Department declaring surplus vehicles.
Yeah, I told Mr. Duvall that I could take care of this for him. That'd help us with so many things. So kind of have a good background in some of this stuff. So there's a couple of vans that we ran basically into the ground, and they stopped working. They've been sitting out there, so it's just time to move them on. They're probably no better than scrap at this point, and try to figure out what value I can get out of them. But they're both 2005 vans. One's a Ford, one's a Chrysler, and you have VIN numbers, so we've got to go through the process of declaring them surplus first before we can do anything else.
Motion to declare surplus, Mr. Long, second by Mr. Fedling. Any discussion from the committee on this? If not, Mr. Huss.
I think Mr. Long has room on his farm if we want to pull it out.
Are those something you would like to redo? Yeah.
We got no room for no junk out there.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Long? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Just a couple of final notes. The audit is in full swing. The outside audit in full swing, and SKDO and the members will be here in a couple of weeks to do a mass communication with everybody, and within our they take up our conference space in our office and bring all their computers and work documents and everything. And also been fortunate to be able to get an intern from ONU, a junior. We've been able to do this a couple times over the last number of years, and we were able to, it's beneficial for both. They have a requirement and we have a need because we're short staffed because of a unfortunate medical situation. It's one of our newest staff members, family member. So we're appreciative of being able to get extra help. And anytime, if anybody ever knows anyone that is in this category of schooling, please let us know. We can always, we always have a need, it seems like. So been short staffed, it seems like, for about 1.5 years now. So, but we appreciate and be able to get that, have that program going again and get a student in here. Other than that, I don't know if there's any questions. That's all I have.
Thank you for all your hard work.
All right, thanks.
Next up is the Treasurer's Office. Treasurer Africano's here. Can I have a motion to combine and approve his reports? Motion by Mr. Federling, second by Mr. Hess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I really don't have much to report other than we're getting ready for tax bills. Hard to believe. It's going to be March 1st here soon. We're looking probably at May 20th for the bills to be in the mailbox. Right now we have some bids out for the printing of the bills. Other than that, the tax payments, prepayments are coming along. We have a lot of people participating. We'll continue to do that. And I just was actually looking at our website before I came up here, and I was a little bit amazed. We're seeing about non-tax months, 7,000 people accessing our website. So that's a good thing. I think people are getting the information. And last thing, I would just add to everybody's comments and just say, Steve, I appreciate all the help you've given me. Since 2016, he's been phenomenal in terms of resource, and I appreciate that.
Any questions or comments for the Treasurer? Chairman Wheeler.
You answered one of them when tax bills go out. The reason I was asking was, we talked about this a while ago, but I remembered when I saw the abatement on the paying that off this year. How is that, if the board doesn't remember, this is the year that we're not collecting a big chunk of property taxes from the county taxpayers. And how is that going to be represented on the bill? Is it going to be a negative number, or is it, I don't know if we can do that, or is it just going to be basically their big chunk of their county tax is going to be gone? They won't even see it.
I know that you and I had that conversation, and we talked about how to call that out on the bill, so to let people know that. I'm still in discussion with our software provider to how we can export that as part of the bill process, because essentially our tax bills get exported as PDF files and then they go to the printer. So if we can export it that way, like as a red figure or a negative figure, some way to call it out and let people know, because as most of you know, on the tax bill, we do have last year's amounts and this year's amounts, so you can see the change. So yes, I don't have an answer, but we'll endeavor to make that happen.
And so the committee knows you can see the change. We saw some school districts go up 10%.
Right.
Our change may get lost in what the other, really 70% of the tax bill is.
And I think people have a hard time sometimes understanding where the tax is being collected. That schools, are
The percentages.
the percentage is by far the largest for school districts.
As long as they know we're trying to help. It's a tough time. Inflation has an impact on a lot of different areas.
It sure does, and I know we'll get calls. We continue to get them. We won't know anybody's taxes essentially till May 1, which is when the clerk's office rolls the tax bills or rolls the levy system to us. So we don't even know yet what the tax bills look like yet. They're still, I mean, I think they're in the middle of it right now, figuring out all the levies that are coming in. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Any other questions for the treasurer?
One other question,
Chairman,
I'm sorry.
yep.
What was the name of the Supreme Court case that had to do with tax bills?
Oh, geez. Something v. Hennepin County.
It was in Hennepin
It was
County.
Hennepin County, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Minnesota.
Taylor
v. Hennepin?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and for the, just since you asked, that is, that basically said that if you take my property and sell it for taxes, right, which is about a 3.5-year process here, and I owe you $5,000, and this was roughly what happened in Hennepin County, and then they sold it for $35,000. The Supreme Court came back and said that profit has to go back to the taxpayer. You can't, it violated the takings clause. And Illinois is already dealing with that. We don't have any exposure in our county right now, really, for anything like that, which is good. And everybody's sort of been proactive now. Our trustees been proactive dealing with that, so we don't get ourselves into that problem. And to be, and honestly, as a treasurer, I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to take anybody's property if we can avoid it. I mean, it doesn't do anybody any good to have a property taken by a taxpayer. They would hate to hear me say that, the taxpayers, but that's just the facts. So we do our best to try to keep people in their house. So.
And the reason I ask is not for that case.
Mhm.
It's really to assess the risk to the land bank.
Right.
The land bank is what I see really at risk by this case, because that's how they operate, is on that profit spread. They take a dead property that's not moving, commercial was whatever, they repurpose it, get it in the hands of someone who's going to do something with it, and there's usually a spread that allows them to go buy another house or another commercial property.
Right.
Well, if that has to go back,
Right.
we become free real estate agents for
Right.
tax delinquent properties.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's
You may be able to speak better to this, but for everybody's knowledge, we do have the first property that is now in the land bank and being redone. So it's a property that I think the land bank got as a deed in lieu of foreclosure, and essentially no tax being collected on it, and it will be back on the tax rolls, and we'll be collecting tax on it. So that's a really good thing. And I was I had conversation yesterday with the assistant director of public works in the city, because they try to stay on top of all of our trustee properties in Kankakee, right? So that they know what the county properties are that are in this city, so they can liaise with them, so they're not stacking up liens on them for lawn cutting and what have you, so that we don't get into a situation where we cut off our nose to spite our face in terms of the property. So I think that's working well as well.
in your assessment, I think it would keep working well for those types of cases. The ones where you've got like a bank that's in Arizona that owns something here they think is $1 million that's now worth 200 because it's got a tree through the roof. You know what I mean?
And we deal with that.
But again, if we sell it, then that profit would have to go back to that entity because of takings, I believe.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get to this committee. The whole point of a land bank is to get more property taxes back on the rolls and not to turn the county into real estate agents.
Well,
or the land bank.
That, and we also are dealing, and it's not a huge problem, but it is a problem. We're dealing with properties, so on a tax deferral situation where someone's deferring their taxes because of their income level, and they defer their taxes to a point where and it's supposed to, when the person passes, the property gets sold, state gets their money back. And the problem with that is they're deferring more tax than the property's worth. So now the state owns the property. They won't extinguish the lien, and we have a property that can't be sold. It's worth less than what state has into it. And to try to get around that, and that, you know, I'm dealing with a property right now, it's similar to that, and then you get a survey, and the lot line is right down the middle of the house, because the person didn't go see Dell's, didn't deal with Dell's office, and so it's like, well, you own that half of the house, and he owns that half of, you know, you can't do anything with it, and you'd be amazed. I got a property right now, it's got 4 pieces of the property are chopped up, 4 different PIN numbers, and it's, what do you do? And one of them's owned by the state. So,
Thanks. Sorry about that.
I'm sure JB will fix it for us all.
Any other questions for the treasurer? All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Next up's the auditor's office. Nobody is here again. You're kidding. Other business, seeing none. Old or new business, access point engineering agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think everybody had that thrown on their in front of them today. We had it, Ben had it arrive overnight, and we printed it. It originally it had 5 sites that were going to be proposed. 2 we have under control, so that's what you see in front of you, and this is for the engineering work to let us know what it would take to get access points to these couple of places that we have control over, and then also you know, move to the next phase on cost engineering and all of that kind of stuff. So you see what it would cost to get to that next phase. And then just so this committee knows, we'd have other conversations with Mr. Hayden and other people about, you know, what can we do ourselves in terms of approaches and things like that, because you would definitely want asphalt and not gravel in these areas, because gravel washes into the river, you know, those types of things. So there's conversations that still have to happen, but this allows us to get design on the points that we own.
Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Featherling, second by Ms. Foster. Mr. Featherling.
Andy, is this for both at the same time, or is this per one? I didn't have a chance to read it, but the 35,000, is that the engineering and everything for both of them?
For both.
For both, okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Any other old or new business for the committee? Mr. McCarty.
Can I just add one thing with the circuit clerk remodel? It was, we've had it identified to be under ARPA.
Okay.
And I thought that it was going to complete today, but it's got to go through the review. When it comes back, if we could please, if I'm not here, if I miss the meeting, wherever it comes back to make sure it gets connected to ARPA. So for all the members that are on there, that's what I was, if we need a specific resolution for, you know, to identify ARPA spending, so.
Yes, Chairman.
It's not coming back here, it's going to full board.
Okay.
So
Sounds
if
great.
the makers of the motion could signify that it's an ARPA allocation for resolution purposes, is that okay with the chair? And Mr. Coughlin, would he agree that that would be appropriate?
The only problem is that Mr. Hunter's not here. So removal of the
How
motion.
about this? We've got the motion. It'll be on the full board agenda with that allocation, if
Okay.
that's acceptable to this committee.
That's fine with head nod. Yeah.
Is that a head
Yes.
nod to add it to it? But if
Yes.
Mr. Hunter has a problem, he can bring that up to me beforehand or
Yep.
as part of consent. Okay.
What's
Thank
that?
you. It's not a substantial change.
Well,
It
I
just
mean,
has to do
the
with
first
money's
the first is
coming
not here to take the motion off the floor, so that's the only for process.
We always did talk
So,
about it, yeah.
okay.
So it's not going against what we've said. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty, for that.
We don't want to wait a month. We can't wait a month.
Any other old Mr. Hess?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Featherling. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.